You know what they say? Nothing beats a 20-minute deadline to make you realize just how much you can procrastinate.
When you've only got 20 minutes, there's no time to be seduced by the details. You just paint, and sometimes that makes for a way better, more honest painting.
Smear it on toast, doo doo ooh, I can help with that. Smear it, what's for doody doo wop? Is there something else I can do for you? Toast it. It sounds like
Obviously, Anne has ratcheted up the challenge this week with not one, but not two, but three studies. Is that right?
Yeah, 3 studies. Yeah. So I thought for this topic, we would focus on short time study. So you're racing against the clock. You've only got a certain amount of time. And I chose this subject because I discovered last week or last time we filmed that I get seduced by the details and I go too quickly in my painting to the details. So this was a way to counteract that. And yeah, help me and hopefully everyone else who's joined along, who's playing along at home, help you to not get seduced by the details.
Oh, I'd love to see what you did. I think you're up first.
All right, let's go. I did these back when we were still in the cyclone time and had my bath filled with water. I just kind of left the water in there for a little bit longer. It just looked so pretty. But I'm not painting the bath this time. So the whole thing that I was focusing on was I wanted to see, can I make a painting look good with just a round object smack bang in the middle? Because that's kind of really a boring composition. So that's what I was trying to play with here.
And a red object smack bang in the middle.
Yeah, I did really struggle with the chroma because the bathroom was so white. And when you have a high chroma subject, but it was quite light in color, every time you add white to lighten it up, it just goes duller and you lose the chroma. So it was actually a real challenge, particularly in my second study. So this was the 20-minute study. So basically, I'm just thinking about the light here, covering the canvas, just getting the general tones in and the different shapes. And I'm using a fluffy brush, which is something that Mina Motashan, I don't actually know how you pronounce her last name, but we've been chatting about me trying to not get focused on the details, and using a really fluffy old brush has really helped me with that because you can't get a straight line or a sharp edge. So that's
Ah,
what. Yeah. Do you use fluffy kind of brushes yourself?
I use I am a neglectful brush parent. So mine end up kind of fluffy. I've just fallen in love with these Neef brushes. We are not sponsored, but if they would like to, I adore them and they are not fluffy. I love a hard
Yeah.
edge. I often use a ruler for a hard edge, or not a ruler, like a straight edge. So that's really interesting with your fluffy
Yeah.
brush. Well, that was your 20-minute.
That was my 20-minute. Yeah. So the idea of these short time studies came from David Dibble. He suggested them to me when I was on a art retreat with him in Tassie, an Artable art retreat. And the idea was kind of mind blowing. So this one was the 60-minute, the 1 hour study. And this one is the one that I really struggled with the chroma. I have to actually make the background a little bit greener to make the apple look redder as I was painting it because I just couldn't get that light pinky red on the right hand side of the apple to show through. So this was really fun. And I don't know, I wonder if you're the same. At the start of this painting, probably a little bit further along in here, I was just thinking, this is rubbish. Like, I just need to start a new one. I hate this. Who am I to think that I could make an interesting painting of it? Oh, smack bang in the middle. And I just had to remind myself, like, you're in the ugly stage. Just keep going. Just like, you're only doing this for an hour.
And
So
that, yeah.
where
And
it
that's
goes.
when most people, I absolutely experience the exact same thing. And you can see, you can see the doubt seep into my painting.
Yeah.
I decide to like completely change the value, but that's okay. And for me, that's what it's that staying power, isn't it? That makes you become an artist, that, you
Yes.
know, you can push through that uncomfortable feeling. You can sit with that uncomfortable feeling, because most people quit. As soon as things go bad, they're like, I'm out of here. But
Exactly.
it's about pushing through that and being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
And I think that's why these studies are so good. Anyone, no matter what level you are in your art, because you've set yourself a time limit. If it doesn't work, it's such a short amount of time. You're not investing, it's just a small painting. You're not investing a big amount of time, that you kind of end up continuing with it despite your feelings that this is an absolute failure and I should totally change careers.
Absolute failure in this painting. It is just
Oh no,
such
this was
a beautiful apple.
Oh no, this was the point where I was like, this is okay, that's it. I need to find something else. I'm going to become a cleaner, which is nothing wrong with it. I've been saying before. But I was just thinking, I don't have any other skills, and I definitely don't have other skill right now. You push through it, and that's why the time studies are so good, because you surprise yourself. I surprised myself.
Yes.
And at the end, I even got to get to my favorite bit of painting, my absolute favorite bit, which is the edges of color. The high chroma pops of color on edges of objects from the light, and you don't see them when you paint from a photo.
No,
when
no,
you paint
not
from,
at all.
Yeah. So I'll start to put them in, I think, right at the end, but oh, they're so delicious. They're so fun to find them. But I had to get this painting in first, and I think somewhere along this point that I start to make the background greener.
Yeah, the photos really suck. I mean, they suck all the color out of the shadows for sure. But yeah, doing anything from life, it's sometimes overwhelming how much color there is there. Especially if you have been working from photos a lot. Yeah, it's almost like, oh gosh. And then, yep, reduce it down, reduce it down. That is a magnificent apple. The first one, I was really entranced by not so much the apple, but the beautiful neutrals that you had in the background.
Yeah, well, I think that was what was interesting, is that maybe you can make a simple subject like just a round apple interesting when you had, like, there's lots of those angles in the bathroom cabinetry and the drawer. I made the drawer a little bit open. So the contrast of this round, bright colored object with very plain, very white, beigey kind of, but angled straight edges. I think that kind of made it really fun. Here you see, yeah, I've got a little like purpley blue pop of color just on that very edge.
Well, this is a lot warmer, isn't it? The background, and I love that reflected color onto that. Yeah, the pinks. Interesting that you're talking about greening up the background. Yeah. Do you push yellow when I'm lightening colors? Instead of using white, I try and use yellow or something lighter.
Yeah, I have heard of that before, but I
chalky.
wasn't sure why.
Yeah, it can be a way to avoid that chalkiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't criticize this. This is a really beautiful apple. Oh, the reveal. I do love the reveal.
And it's funny because for me, it wasn't actually a painting about an apple in the end. It was about that pop of green on the very, very edge of the shadow and transitioning into the light. So this was my 2-hour study.
Yep.
And I actually wanted to paint the same subject because by this stage, the light had changed. It was now afternoon, almost evening. So the light was very different. And I just thought, oh, I want to try it in a different light. And I also wanted to see what would happen to that 20-minute study if I resolved it a little bit further.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Mirandy, isn't it? That idea that you could just paint the same thing over and over again, and the whole world is in a grain of sand. Just a shift in light, a shift in, you can just shift your subject slightly to the left. It's a completely different narrative. That it doesn't take much, and yeah, you don't need to go out and find a grand vista to paint or something. some beautiful bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
The poetry exists, right here under your fingernails.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we've been chatting about before that I'm really interested in. For a long time, my work has been painting beautiful things. Like I paint birds. At the moment, I'm growing and painting flowers. Like they're already beautiful. But what I really admire in artists is when they paint the mundane, the
Yeah.
stuff, the toilet that we all have, and we all see it every day. But can you make that beautiful? Can you make someone look at that same object now as an object of beauty when it's just been this object that they haven't given 2 cents of a thought to?
To steal from Barack Obama, yes, you can.
Well, that's what these studies have been great. And I think, like, I don't know about you, but we've all been told we need to be doing little studies, little thumbnails before we do work, and we just don't. We resist it. We think, I just want to get straight to the main thing, and I haven't got time for that. But when we do, these little challenges are forcing us to do that. They're so good. They're so beneficial.
Oh, and the compounding interest of them, because I had the exact same resistance, and if we weren't doing it as a project, or if I am not doing it, to illustrate something when I'm teaching, you always think you don't have time for it. You should be doing real paintings, but if you invest the 20 minutes, you reap the rewards. Absolutely. Like I was so I was resistant when you set this topic. And but it was really eye-opening to realize that no matter where you are in your art journey, whether you're a complete beginner or an established painter, these kind of exercises will teach you till you're 8, because you're just layering up that knowledge that you've acquired since the last time you did this kind of exercise. I found it really eye-opening.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said too. Like my brother is a grandmaster at chess, so he goes in chess competition, and I always thought it was odd that after the competition, they would sit down with their coach, or they just sit down and go over the same game and analyze it. And now I think about studies like that in painting, like you're just exploring one idea, a very simple idea, very quickly, and then you haven't invested a lot of time. So you can just analyze it and go, oh, actually, maybe I want to focus more on the light, or maybe I want to shift the composition this way. And it gives you that time to explore the ideas that you're thinking about in that work. Whereas if you're just working on a major piece, a big piece, and you put a lot of time in it, I find I'm very hesitant to try something a little bit out there or a little bit daring, because you've invested so much time. What if it goes wrong? Whereas here, it doesn't matter. If it goes wrong, it's no problem.
There's such a freedom in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that analysis, I think, is key, because, when we talk about 10,000 hours or whatever to learn a skill, it isn't the 10,000 hours, it's the 10,000 practiced or, considered hours that you're, because you practice the wrong thing. Well, not that there's a wrong thing in art, but it needs to be focused practice. And that analysis, I think, is a really important part of that for me anyway, in terms of my, my art journey. Look at things and understand, is that achieving what I wanted it to achieve? Is there something opening up here? I think it's a really valuable practice.
Yeah, and I think that's where I feel like I'm at in my work right now too. Whereas I think I've always, and maybe we all start like that, like, can I just copy something? Can I represent it? Am I able to paint that so it looks so real that you can't tell that it's 2D painting? And then once you master that, it's like, okay, cool, I can paint something how I see it, no problem. But can I make someone feel something with that? Or can I paint it in such a way that it's of that, but it's not about that? Like then you start to create new puzzles for yourself to solve in your work. And it's so much more interesting than
Yes.
just a photo or painting what you can do. And I think that's what we're always trying to do in our art is once you've worked out, can I do something? Or can I paint like this person? Or can I achieve chiaroscuro like this artist? Once you've achieved it, it's like, okay, what's next? How can I push my work even further?
Well, it's about learning the language first. So, you're learning to essentially write. You're learning, and then it's like, okay, now what are you going to say with your language? And I mean, this is just masterful because you and I both lived on the Gold Coast. They spent a lot of money on a red dot, and
The Gold Coast logo is literally the word Gold Coast
with a red
and
dot.
a red dot, like a full stop after it. And that, what did it cost? Like how many?
Oh, it was.
Like
We have
50,000
lots of opinions
million
on that.
something. Yeah.
And when you said you were painting an apple, and I was like, gosh, that is hard. And an apple in this kind of environment, to not make it a designy red dot. Oh, upside down, Miss Jane. Sorry, you've just flipped the page.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was talking to Minna Matashan. Oh, who was it? Maybe about Phil Geiger, the artist, about how at a certain point halfway through he turns his painting upside down.
Yep.
Because you
As a
want to
check.
think about it in abstract then. So just to give you fresh eyes and then to go, okay, well, what does this painting need? Like not the apple on the countertop or the basin or any of that. But what will balance this painting? So flipping it upside down, I just felt like it just needed a pop of color in that bottom corner.
Oh, that little
Not
bit
there
of
on the
red.
scene. Yeah, just something. And I guess diagonally now it draws the eye down. Like you look at the apple and then you look at, oh, there's some kind of detail of some stuff on the counter, but then it pulls you back down and moves your eye around. That's the idea anyway.
Well, that's what I was going to say before. Like you have avoided the horrific red dot effect. I mean, it is off center, but by adding that color in the top left, I'm in love with this painting. I might jump on and buy this one before anyone else can. This is just the and that bottom right red.
Sorry, I'm moving.
Yeah, I think flipping your paintings using mirrors, such a great way because you're not painting a thing. It's a flat surface. You're painting shapes, and it's abstract to begin with. But the more you can think abstractly about it, for me, that opens up a pathway.
I want to just show. Sorry.
Yeah, and so fun to play with those abstract elements.
Yeah, I wanted to show just the comparison then of the two together because they're not that different. Apart from the lighting, they're not that different. The general feel is the same. And I think doing that 20-minute study helped me to be so much looser, particularly with those objects on the counter in the 2-hour study, because I had done that 20-minute study first.
Yeah, gosh, they're so charming. I like them both. It's very...
Yeah, I love them both together. And what's so funny is that I just think this is the sexiest toilet I've ever painted. I mean, I've never painted a toilet before, but this here just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
In a simple suggestion, I could get that curve and the glossiness and
but I like the 20-minute toilet too. I'm not sure it reads as toilet, but it doesn't need to. It does because it's got bathroom sinkness next to it probably.
Yeah.
And so you can say a lot, and you do in your work. You say so much with so little. The open drawer. There's a whole narrative going on here. Like, why is there an apple in your bathroom?
And you know what was ironic is that I didn't even think about the apple. It was because this was post-cyclone. The shop, everything was flooded, so food couldn't get into the shop, and the shop refrigerator system all blew. So I only had one apple. That was the only piece of like fresh food that I had to paint, and it was I got an apple for our birds because I thought they're going to need some little piece of fruit or something to nibble on. So I thought I'd just quickly paint this before I cut them a slice.
We might have to cut this out because it's oversharing, but no, for me, my husband will be laughing at the fact that there's fruit in the bathroom because sometimes when I get back from a surf and I'm so cold, I jump in the shower, but I'm so hungry, I eat apples in the shower. What? He's like, why is there an apple core in the shower?
I love that because what a life nicest moment is having a glass of wine in the shower, and I don't drink anymore, but there's just something so nice. Or remember when we were younger, there used to be waterproof radio, and you could bring the radio in the shower with you and play music while you're showering. And I think there's just something about when something is in a place that it's not meant to be,
Okay,
or it usually,
interesting.
there's something so enjoyable about that. So I understand. I reckon you could step it up with a piece of cake. A piece of cake in a shower. Yeah.
I do eat cake in the bath. Yeah, for sure. Best thing.
Yeah. Perfect.
Smear it on toast, you do-do, ooh, oh, I can help with that. Smear it, what's for doody-doo-wop? Is there something else I can do for you? Toast it, it sounds like.
If you're enjoying this episode, could you do us a favor and share it with just one other person? It's a small thing, but it will really help us grow.
And if you want to join in on the fun, use the hashtag Smerdon Toast, no A in Smerdon, to show us what you're working on.
And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. That way you'll stay in the loop with new episodes, behind the scenes stuff, and whatever else we're up to.
Toast it, shoo-doo-wop. Smear it, wop-wop, ba-doo-be-doo-wop. Do wanna see the toast that smear, smeared on toast.
Well, I'm to see what you did.
Oh, I feel so intimidated.
Oh no.
Yeah, as I said, it was definitely a challenge. I was quite intimidated by this challenge that you so graciously set for us. I'm really grateful. It was very, yeah. I found it quite profound, to be honest.
Yeah, I did the same when I first did them.
Yeah, so I decided that just the 3 different time limits was enough, that I would be able to get a lot out of just painting the same thing in 3 different time limits. I chose a portrait again, so no grid this time, using the drawing to give me that kind of structure. Yeah, to be able to put down the paint in a very short space of time. 20 minutes is not long. It's really
Yeah, especially for a portrait. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You were brave.
And I was just like, okay, I can just, here's my aim. I want to feel the volume. So in 20 minutes, a couple of shapes, basically, how can I give the head a volume? And I'm just thinking back to the egg studies that I have done and have made other people do. You can learn a lot from painting an egg, or as you have taught us, painting an apple. Yeah, just to focus on volume, make it feel round. The subject here had that beautiful blue on the side of her face, and as a little note to you, so you hate the Zorn palette, went in for full Zorn.
Well, that's good. You can inspire me and show me why.
Because look
about
at the blue. Like that is
Blue, like
not blue paint. That is black.
Oh, and it looks so good. It just sings.
And it's funny because, that's what art is, isn't it? It's a conversation. So it's like, I'm really just talking to you here saying, look at the blue. Look at the blue.
I love that these are pushing, like we're pushing each other out of our comfort zone. Yeah, that's
Oh,
really cool.
so far out of my comfort zone. I am drowning.
I know that you're going to set Zorn palette as one of the
I
challenge
will.
weeks now.
I will. Imagine if I set a Zorn landscape. That would challenge me.
Oh, yeah. Wow,
Because
that 2-minute study looks just so beautiful. It's almost abstracted. Like it's, yeah, lovely.
I like it too, because it is, if you nail the shapes, you capture the pose, you capture maybe there's not a roundness like an egg, but there's the planes of the face are there.
Oh, yeah.
There is an attitude there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lesson. How many times do I have to learn it over and over again? I'm a slow learner.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, don't worry, me too. But just looking at that nose, like that nose is 3D. It just jumps out
Yeah.
on the page. And yet then if you just kind of take your eyes out and look at the painting as a whole, it's just beautiful. Like you could flip it upside down and the color harmony of the abstract shapes would just be just equally as pleasing.
Well, I mean, the Zorn does help you with the color harmony because you've just got the three. You've just got the ivory, black, cad red or cad red light, yellow ochre, and white. So it just gives a natural harmony, and it really gave me the ease to be able to mix the variations. That's why I and a lot of people choose it. But I mean, talk about a smashed in nose. I actually enjoy smashed in noses in a lot of impressionist work.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a very inaccurate nose, but it works, right?
But it still reads. Like it still reads as a nose and it still reads as a volume that is protruding from the face. And doesn't that just show how little work you need to be able to convey that? And we all often think that we have to spend all this time blending and getting the nose to look so photorealistic for it to read. This shows it doesn't.
Yeah. And I mean, so with this hours study that I'm working on, I actually didn't want to go much further. I really just still wanted to capture the roundness of the head. And instead of add more detail, I was more interested in getting more accurate shapes, more accurate value temperature shifts.
Yeah.
And so I kept it really broad, and I enjoy the result of keeping it really broad, keeping it really open. Again, another lesson I need to continually learn. But yeah, I didn't add another 40 minutes to the original painting. Instead, I slowed down and worked more on that drawing stage. And then, even though this is sped up, I'm taking more time with the temperature shifts instead of just smashing in, a bluey black for the shadow, red for the cheek, yellow. I'm more concerned about those temperature shifts.
Yeah, and you can see that really on that blue on the side of the face. In your 20-minute study, it's just blue. It's blue, that's what I can see. But now we've got a slight variation, a slight highlighter blue on the top side, a little bit of a soft edge as it comes down.
Yeah, and it actually shifts from that blue down to the green around under her lip, and then sort of even greener on the neck, and then it shifts to purple. And it's so fun to do that just with black and red and yellow. I really love playing with its own palette.
You're really selling it to me.
Yeah, so fun.
Well, this is what's really interesting, and I think what I'm hearing from you is that doing these time studies is giving you the permission to just focus on color shifts, just to focus on one thing, and that's really cool.
And here I went into detail with the eyes, and I wish I hadn't, because I really wanted to keep her eyeless, and because as soon as you pop an eye in, it just sort of takes all the attention.
Mm.
So I think I smudge them out in a minute. But yeah, to resist going for, again, to resist the detail and just go for the form is, yeah, I smudged them out, because, and the eye sits better that way, because you're not
Yeah.
painting eyes on something, you're just painting the form. Like when you flipped your apple upside down, you're just painting form, you're just painting abstract shapes.
That's so interesting that we both
Same
get
struggle.
seduced by the detail. And that what we have enjoyed so much about this is how it's forced us to paint, not how we would normally paint. I feel like you're a little bit loose. Oh, they look so good side by side.
So
Once
moody,
you take
hey?
it, yeah,
I'll pull
so
them back
good.
up. I pull them back up. I put
Okay.
all three together. And again, so this is the 2-hour study, which I lost my confidence in.
No.
But that's okay, because that's, again, it's just part of the journey, and with everything, like, and more, actually I was talking to my friend Carly Rawkins about it, like more and more my painting is about how to live in the world. Lessons of how to live, lessons of how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, how to deal with doubt, how to push through hard situations. Because the other thing, when I was surfing this morning, like, you never have perfect conditions. Nothing's ever perfect. Nothing's ever set up. So don't wait. Just go with what you have. And so if all you have is 20 minutes, that's all you have. If all you have is red, blue, and black, so red, yellow, and black, that's what you have, and that's what art is. It's making. It's what art has always. I'm going on a rant now. That's all art has ever been. You have a piece of clay and a stick.
But it's true. Like, I think, and if you think just about us physiologically, we are designed to feel good after hard work or after going through a struggle. Like, hard work, we get a release of dopamine. So that's exactly what we're doing when we go through an artwork, particularly when we're setting up challenges, like we're setting up a hardship for ourselves. We're giving ourselves a time limit. So to actually have to work through it and push through the frustration and push through the difficulty, that's why we feel so good at the end. And perhaps the dopamine helps us to resolve it at the end and bring it all together.
Yeah, if it was easy, would you be bothered doing it?
No.
So
I mean,
what?
that's why you take a photo, right? If you wanted to. And I think that's
Exactly.
the difference with AI. Like, I think AI is amazing and it can achieve some incredible results, but I'm not interested in easy. I'm
No.
interested in the struggle and the battle with the paint and the battle with how do I convey this concept I'm trying to say. And I think that's why art will always be valued, like art
Yeah.
that's done by a human and that's done with paint on a surface, because that's really what we want to see. We want to see someone struggling or rising above the human challenges to create something that's amazing.
Because it's
Yeah, so
relevant to our lives.
yeah, exactly, relevant. Yeah, yeah. So I don't feel threatened by AI
No.
technology or that debate that's going on about artists and AI at the moment, because even if AI kind of quashed the arts industry, I'd still be painting because that's what I'm interested in doing. I
Yeah.
just love the struggle and then the joy of overcoming that problem in the end.
Yeah. And that's when you know you're a painter. When you're like,
That's right.
if no one ever saw it, would I still do it? Yep.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. But
This
we
is,
are seeing it. So good to see, those edges and the just subtle colors and the green in the hair and the eye.
I like it at this stage. And
Yeah.
then let's zoom in on the moment Seabastion loses her confidence.
Oh, no.
And this is the problem with working from photos, I think. Yeah, I have struggle with getting the value. It seemed too light because skin is not that light in the flesh. So I went and just like changed the values in about right now. You can see it. Let's just
Ah,
change
but
the
that's
whole
because you're
meticulous value structure that you'd set up. Because you only have 30 minutes to go. Let's live on the edge. I do like
yeah,
to live on the edge.
and that's on our mind at the same time. We're thinking, oh, okay, I've got to get something that's decent looking within that amount of time.
And that's painting in front of a camera. And this is a completely new
Yeah.
thing for me as well, painting in front of a camera. And I actually finished this. I still have some logistics to work out about painting in front of a camera. I don't know if not being able to see my reference and my painting is a good thing. Maybe it's giving me a bit of looseness. 'Cause like I painted in the dark.
Yeah, and it is hard because you often have like a camera or some kind of tripod or arm half covering what you're trying to look at because we want to make sure everyone can see it as well. That's always tricky.
And painting for an audience is tricky too. I would recommend avoiding it.
Yeah. But we're taking one for the team
We
and
are taking
doing
one
it
for
for
the
the benefit
team.
of all artists and art collectors out there.
And that's a thing that I think like the younger generation doesn't have, because when I went through art school, gosh, I mean, you're never going to find those paintings. Because there's a thing now that everything you paint, you put on Instagram, and I don't think that's good for your development, sort of at any level.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've done a thing. Now, here, let other people evaluate it. I think you should be very selective about who you allow to have input into your process. And judging it on likes is just a bad thing. So that's the 2 hours.
Nice.
Then I wiped it all off. Then I went back for the redraw. And now I look back, I'm like, really? I think I didn't need to do that. But I'm human. I'm human. I have insecurities.
Yeah, fair enough. What we're looking at on the right, the third one, was that when you've gone back and fixed it?
Gone back and fixed it. I should have popped up. I should have
it looks good now. Yeah.
done a 3. So that's a 20-minute, 1 hour, probably 4 hour, rather than the 20-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour.
Yeah.
And again, photographing oils is tricky, isn't it? Like, I think
it's a nightmare.
I think in reality, this painting is a lot softer.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know how I feel. The 20-minute and 1 hour, they're pretty rough. I don't know how I feel about the paint application. But yeah, there's something charming about all of them.
Yeah, and you can't focus on all of those things. Like you can't focus on paint application and shape and tone and edges all at the same time. So what you've done is you've basically chosen one and gone, okay, I'm just working on the shifts of the color or the temperature. And then the next one, I'm doing that, but I'm just refining it a bit more. So that's really cool.
And the interesting thing with the portraiture, and I really like what you did when you flipped yours, because there is the tendency to go for a likeness. So in the first one, I was not happy about just the shape of her head. The last one has a more accurate shape to her head. I can flick back to that. Yeah, so you can see I haven't got the shape of her head, but if you didn't know who it was, it's fine. And there is that play. Are you doing a portrait or are you painting a painting? Because if you're painting a painting, doesn't necessarily, you're going, like you said, you're going for the flow of shapes over this superimposed idea. of reality.
Yeah, and that is what you are a master at, and that's what I admire so much in your work, is that it's about the painting. It's a portrait. It's still a portrait, but it's about the painting rather than necessarily getting a likeness. And you still get a likeness, but you're not. I get sucked into the details again and making it look like it's got to look like a photo. Otherwise, it won't read as a person or that person. But what you're more focused on, it's got to be a beautiful painting. And I think so often I favor likeness and I sacrifice a good painting, a good composition, something that's pleasing to the eye or that's saying something more than this is this person.
Yeah. The struggle is real. I absolutely deal with that. And that's all it is, you know? It's that dance. And that's an exciting dance if you reframe it that way.
Yeah.
Because I mean perception is just a whole nother topic I could rant about.
Yeah.
Because I mean, especially when you're painting a room, or like you were, not only is the light shifting, but you look at something and you focus here and the color is shifted just by looking, just
Yeah.
by focusing, the color will change. You would go mad. I mean, that's why most of us are a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I like these studies, because you haven't got time to then go back and correct something. Because, I might be looking at the apple and thinking, okay, everything else is kind of a cool blue. And then I look at the basin and I think, oh, actually everything's green. It's more green. And without giving yourself that time limit, you could just be
Chase that.
painting. Yeah. And then the rest of the painting's not finished. So this way it's kind of like just pick a subject, pick a color,
Commit.
and then you come back to it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Again,
Yeah.
it becomes, a palm. No, I'm not going to go for that word.
I'm gonna fall for life.
It's because it's commit. This is what you started. See it through.
Yeah.
And just say, I think that is another thing, another struggle with art. You can try and say too much in one painting.
Yeah.
I think
Simple is always better.
bring it down to the haiku.
Yes. I love a good haiku.
And
Do everything.
because that 20-minute one, I think, has almost more attitude than the.
Yeah, I love your 1 hour one the most.
Oh,
I think.
interesting.
Yeah.
Except, of course, couldn't get the placement right. But I mean, that's part of it, isn't it? What's right?
Well, I mean, I've done an apple, a round object. You've done a face.
Well, we both did the central round object.
That is true.
And it's a tricky composition. I mean, no, yours, you offset yours. I think yours is delightful. Are we going for a painting swap instead of selling these ones?
I know. I feel like I'm going to do that every week. But that is a good point you make. If you want to acquire for yourself a Smerdon Toast original, these will be up on our website unless we swap them beforehand.
Get in quick. So Anne's is on her website, Smerdon.com. And mine's on my website, SeabastionToast.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And while you're there, while you're clicking things, you might as well like and subscribe and do the stars and ratings and follows and all that.
All the
Help us
things.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so good if you could help us out.
So, I'm setting the next challenge. Ha ha ha.
You are. I have given you this one, so it's up to you now to please don't be the Zorn palette.
Okay. All right. Well, not the Zorn palette yet. We'll just dangle that over your head.
Just tease me.
I'm gonna go for sort of a broader one for our next challenge. I'm gonna say light, which is quite broad. You can interpret this as metaphorically as you like. There's no limits, so you can go light values, light as a subject. I mean, it is I find what the only thing I'm ever painting is light, because how else do you see?
That's it. Yeah. All we paint is light. Color, everything is light.
Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, you can interpret this in any way you like. And if you want to play along at home, hashtag Smerdon Toast, and we'll check those out.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea of doing a high chroma, very light key
Yeah, high key.
painting. Good way to take it. Yeah.
Well, that knocks out that topic that was my next.
What?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
As long as it's not Zorn palette, I'm happy. You just
We have such a list of topics.
we
We're
do.
going to be here
It's
till we die.
great. It's going to prolong our life. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to better our skills and our understanding. And actually, it's a great insight into, like, I learned a lot from the last topic.
Oh, wow.
I really learned, like, okay, you just are sucked in by the details. You need to sort that out, and this helped a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, this one will relax you out of it. And
Great.
yeah, we will see you
Awesome.
next time. Do all
Yeah.
the likey, subscribey thing.
Thank you, and put some more miles on your brush.
Yep. And remember, be kind to yourself.
What's my duty to up? Is there something else I can do for you? Toast it.